Hi, I'm Sergio Cabanas, attorney at law, president, owner, and founder of the Cabanas Law Firm. Thank you for joining me today. If you suffered any type of reduction or loss of income, there's help. The legal system can and will work for you. In fact, you might learn that you, as a debtor, may have more power, more legal rights than your own creditors. If you suffered any type of reduction or loss of income and you have increasing debt, there's help. I've developed this video to empower you, to inform you of your legal rights with these top 5 tips of how to survive debt in this time of crisis. Tip number 1, relax. You might find out that you have more legal rights than your own creditors, but information is critical. Information in this field is power. And the way to get that information is doing what you're doing now, which is getting information, getting knowledge, and turning to the right people who can help you. We at the Cabanas Law Firm formed this law firm in the time of the Great Recession back in 2007 and 2008. We're very knowledgeable and have years of experience in handling debt resolution crisis, including foreclosure defense. Tip number 2, don't sell any protected assets. And here's what I mean by that. If you own a house, that's protected by law. If you earn an income, in most circumstances, that's protected by law. If you have a 401k or other assets like annuities, they're all protected from creditors. The last thing you want to do is compromise those assets, your nest egg, for the benefit of paying debts that could be reduced or eliminated by some other legal means. Tip number 3, do not keep bank accounts with banks that already have a line of credit that you've borrowed from. In the fine print, whenever you borrow down on a line of credit, for example, or a credit card, the fine print allows the bank to seize and cash out, take any cash that you may have in other accounts, such as a savings or checking account, to pay down your line of credit. That's often very shocking for clients to find out. If you have a line of credit with a bank you cannot pay off, close out that account, or at least transfer the funds that you have with that bank to another bank in order to avoid that from happening. If the bank takes that money, it's very difficult and expensive to get that money back. Tip number 4, if you have limited cash reserves, prioritize your payments. Obviously, as your funds start to decrease, you have to be more judicious and careful about where you spend your money. That includes, of course, saving that money for such important items as food, medicine, which are often obvious choices. But you shouldn't pay off old credit cards if you have limited funds for food and medicine and utilities. You want to make sure you're able to pay for these ongoing expenses. We at the Cabanas Law Firm can help you with that. We can help you put in a call to that landlord or lender and make these special arrangements for you, especially in these times of crisis. Tip number 5, what should I do with all the other debts, such as credit cards or other unsecured debt? Well, I've developed a chart to help you kind of navigate your options that include non-bankruptcy as well as bankruptcy options. So this is the chart that I've developed to help explain some of the options. So let's suppose you're at this point and you have limited cash reserves and you have to decide what to do here because you're not able to pay off many of your debts. Well, depending on whether you have cash reserves, you may try to settle. You can actually contact your lender to reduce the debt, get a forbearance, or work out a payment plan with your lender on terms that you can afford. If you're not able to do this, then you would have no choice but to take a wait and see approach. But if you are able to settle and you reach a settlement on terms and conditions that you're okay with, that resolves the issue with regard to that debt. If you're not able to settle, then you could similarly wait for a wait and see approach and see what the lender does next. If no lawsuit is ever filed, then a statute of limitations will run under Florida law for 5 years. If the lender does not file a lawsuit within that time, then that resolves that debt and the creditor is time barred from bringing any lawsuit. Now, they may send you many threatening notices, and there's ways to deal with that, but the bottom line is that if no lawsuit is filed from 5 years, more or less from the date of your default, then the statute of limitations runs after 5 years. If the lender does sue, you have options. If the lawsuit is filed within the 5 years, you can choose to settle at that point. Usually the debt is aged out to the point that the creditor is likely to settle for a substantially reduced amount, or sometimes, depending on the hardship, they may eliminate the debt altogether. So if it settles, that resolves the whole issue and you're done with that debt. If you're not able to settle, or you simply don't have the money to even settle, then you may choose to defend against the lawsuit. If you defend against a lawsuit, many things can happen. One of them is that the lender will simply stop prosecuting the case, and the case is eventually dismissed out of court, and there you have it. The statute of limitation eventually runs, and the issue is resolved. If the creditor does get a judgment, which is possible, then we have to see if they collect. Oftentimes, the lender does nothing to collect on the debt, in which case it expires over time, usually 10 to 20 years, depending on very complicated circumstances. If they do try to collect, what many people don't know about is that Florida law protects a lot of assets. For example, if only one of the spouses is responsible for the debt and the other spouse is not, any property that's jointly held with this as a marital asset is exempt. Similarly, your income under most circumstances is exempt from any type of garnishment. And as I said earlier, your home and many other assets like a 401k are protected and exempt from any collections effort that the creditor may try to employ. So you have many non-bankruptcy options. Of course, you also have the bankruptcy options, which will serve to eliminate the debt in many circumstances. So I understand that at first glance, this flowchart may seem a little overwhelming, but just repeat the video and take your time. Of course, this is no substitute for an in-person consultation with an attorney who has this kind of experience, who can guide you through the process and show you how all of this works in your particular case. So feel free to give us a call. We're still available, and you can consult with us now by telephone or video conference from the comfort and safety of your home. Feel free to call us for any kind of hardship, whether it relates to debt or any other kind of legal problem. Again, we're here to help you in any way possible. All you gotta do is pick up the phone and give us a call, 954-447-2580. Again, that number is 954-447-2580. Thank you again for listening. Stay safe and have faith.